Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Carla.
And we're the Smiley twins.
And this is take 2 because we forgot the microphones. Okay.
Got to have those for audio.
Yes, that's what they tell us.
It's also the second time we've done that. Well, my mic was muted the other time.
Yeah,
but
that was even worse because we did the whole episode and her mic was muted the entire time.
Learning curve.
Yeah. So today's episode is going to be about being an entrepreneur and the ups and downs that come with that. We're in the right headspace for it, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the downs and be kind of transparent about them as we're experiencing them now, today. And then ultimately, I think my message and my biggest thing for everybody, which I'm pretty consistent on, is that we don't have to fall into this trap or theme or this standard that everyone likes to talk about. Being an entrepreneur or being and owning your own business is something that it's all in 24/7. You're giving up your life, your family, your kids. You know, that's a bunch of bullshit, to be honest. And I think it actually causes people around you who are not entrepreneurs to then decide for you what your life must look like.
Right, without actually maybe knowing.
Yeah, based on that definition or based on, things they see because it's so popular to be like, on social media or whatever about how, crazy it is and you can't have it all.
Well, it's like both ways, right? There's like a positive spin to it of like make your own schedule and flexible and make more money and then this extreme of that. And then there's this extreme of like, dedicate your next life so that or the next year of your life to this and, tell your kids and tell your husband that you're not going to be able to see them and all this stuff. And it really falls somewhere in between. And why the in-between is not more kind of talked about.
The in-between is actually...
Which is a roller coaster.
Yeah, and the in-between is a roller coaster. And then I actually think now that the in-between is solely defined by the functionability of the person who's running the business.
That and like your time management. It's so many factors. Time management skills, like, how...
Some people can do in 4 hours what it takes other people 8.
Sure.
So there's going to be those people on the bell curve who literally have to give up their entire lives because they may function at a much lower rate than the person who's over here who works, can do in 8 hours what someone else will take 40. So most of us land somewhere in between, and you are trying to balance, and then you wax and wane on the curve. You're on this side, then you flow over to this side, and it's not this one size fits all, but it's just so attractive for people to be so, like,
opinionated.
Like it's either all or nothing. It's either like, oh, you own your own business, you're rich, or oh, you own your own business, you must be a shitty mom. Like it really is like it doesn't like why. And then because of what society has defined as a successful entrepreneur, then those people again who are not entrepreneurs look at those that are. And then make judgments and opinions.
Which is our society in general. So it's not like anything new, but it's just, it's frustrating. Like she said, for us, it's hitting home currently in our own personal lives. And it's just, it's a roller coaster. I mean, my roller coaster, though, is like literally day to day. I mean, on Monday, I'm always just like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. There's no way I can do all this. On Tuesday, I always feel better. Wednesday's like, oh, it truly is kind of a hump day of like, And then, it's very interesting. How it goes, but
I'm going to be like pretty open here. So this month, that's September 14th. And we did kind of mess up a little bit. We didn't intend for it to happen, but we had back-to-back we were at a business thing for kind of a Thursday to Monday, Labor Day, and then we were Wednesday to Sunday. The very next week speaking at a conference. And then we have this in between couple weeks here, but then we're gone 2 more weekends in a row, kind of shorter weekends, but still. And so we never do this. I've never had a stretch of travel like this in my life. When I was working at corporate HCA, and my travel schedule I was gone like every other week for like 4 to 5 days during the week at a time, just ridiculous stuff like that. And when my kids were 0 and 2 and 1 and 3. But somehow I think because perceptions and people are often caught up in the moment, I had an interaction today with someone who honestly knew me a lot better when I was younger and doesn't know me as well now just because life and, you just don't stay connected with people as much or whatever the case is or whatever. Effort isn't there or maybe it is and it just is what it is.
It's a busy time of life.
Just a busy time of life, especially for me. And so this person had a very strong opinion about everything.
Time with kids and
a sister,
how
a wife,
good your kids
a mom.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Just as a wife, as a mom,
like
as a family
your kids
member.
are gonna have problems, and you don't speak up enough as a sister, and just all kinds of stuff. And it was really just like caught me off guard in a moment of like, I guess, frustration and anger for this person, which whatever the root cause was is probably some level of concern, which generally happens when someone feels the need to,
or fear. It's usually
fear,
bound by some sort of fear, I guess.
Yeah.
They feel hopefully you hope that.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, they feel the need to almost like use like what was the intention there? Like it's like, are you intending to hurt me, or like you don't want to think that, but you don't actually know what's going on in my life day to day, or how just some of those things, and it just really made us kind of talk about like just that overall opinion, and we feel like there's probably plenty of y'all out there, especially if you are the CEO, the injector, the mom, the wife, the sister, the friend, and you have all these balls in the air, and there are weeks and days where you have to decide which one's going to fall, and you typically do everything you can to hold up. For me, it's wife first. My marriage is first and foremost in my life, and that is the most important thing to me. And then my second ball is my kids. Those are the two things I try to never let drop. I get to cheat as a sister to her, because if I drop that ball, then generally she knows why, or we have that ball together, or we're just kind of constantly trying to kick it in the air.
Support both ways too, to make sure that her two things stay in the air that she finds most important. And then she
that
does the same. For me.
We have to sacrifice this ball, and or a friend ball or something like that. And
a lot of balls.
But that should be acceptable. If we're actually supporting each other. So let's talk about support. If we're actually supporting one another, whether that's in collaboration with another business, or as a friend, a mom to somebody who's whatever, has their own business, is starting their own business, is just a working parent, or just a stay-at-home parent, it doesn't matter. It's all relative, and support is you being positive and supporting them when those balls drop.
And it all has its own hardships. So I mean, it's like, doing this right now, like me personally, and really we're not just because we're identical twins, but maybe because our lives, obviously our paths are extremely similar. So we're in this position right now, which has its hardships, but the stay-at-home mom or whatever has their own hardships. Like, I mean, I literally could not do that job. And so it's not to say that this one is any more hard or any less hard. It's like, you just deal with different things. Like, and then kind of what she's talking about, just putting your opinion into something that you're not actually experiencing, no matter how close you think you are to the person you're talking to, is just like pretty much always unacceptable, unless you are, I get, like, speaking out of fear or out of concern, but so maybe the issue sometimes is like how it's presented. I'm not really sure, but but then it's also like attacking someone's entire life, both personally and professionally, is definitely probably not the answer. So, I mean, the whole point, it's a little personal today, but like the whole point of it is like, it's back to the whole point of the podcast is, being an entrepreneur is very hard, and it's not the cliche. It's not the cliche.
No,
it's so hard, and you give up everything, and it's not the easy one either of like make your own money and be your own boss and flexible schedule. It's neither of those, and it's
usually, I mean, there's plenty of people who obviously drown and can't do it, and it's the bell curve. It's both of those and
like
everything in
everything
between.
else.
Yeah.
In life. So.
But 50% of people, that's what we love. I love bell curves. They're so beautiful, because 50% of people typically are going to land in the middle.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion of the middle. Some easier, some a little bit harder, but so it's just, and supporting one another. It's just so, no matter what, I don't care what that person does. I mean, I do care, I guess, but for the most part, no one does really intentional actions that are malicious. Business to business, we generally don't. Mm-hmm. So to balk at someone else's success, or to be jealous, which is probably the core of a lot of issues amongst either family or immediate friends, it's really a level of jealousy, which is tough. It's just so hard, and considering the fact of where someone else is, and I don't need someone to say something about me and my kids or my travel schedule, because I do that enough. Like, I lay next to them and sniff them at night. And that's what I think about is, not going to be there for the next night or whatever the case is.
Well, I mean, it's like going right into like mom guilt in general. I mean, parenting is one big guilt trip. In the best way, but I mean, we're constantly guilted by society or by whoever of that it's not enough, or it's not, this is the standard, this is the best, this is a normal way to raise your child, this is not okay. I mean, it's like you go into the spanking, not spank, it's all these opinions of, and it's just like, all
somewhere
we're really,
in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere we're just trying to raise our kid, you just try to raise your child to be a relatively, societally, whatever, normal adult who's maybe kind and some of those basic things, but, and yes, does that get harder sometimes with entrepreneurship? For sure. It definitely does.
Sure.
Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe your entrepreneurial journey allowed you to have so much extra time freedom with your children that so once again, land somewhere in the middle. For me, in my anesthesia career, I see my family much more than I did when I was working in any anesthesia job. And I tried, I kind of had them all. I took call and then would have the next day off, or I, kind of worked far away, would do nights in a row and then come back and have to, but I ultimately now, I get home and spend almost every night outside of maybe, this month is rough. And then, but looking forward to this month, after this month, it's like we got nothing on the schedule, so it all kind of fell into this month.
Yeah.
But I spend more time with my kids than, my family than I ever have.
Well, that leads into some of the positives that I've been really big on this lately, and I still am, even regardless of today. Like, you can have it all. I'm a good mom, and my kids are well-adjusted, intelligent, beautiful people who are crushing it at life right now. And is it hard for them? Am I acting like it's perfect? No. Have we had a couple issues in the last couple weeks of one of my children saying oh, okay, so we have 9 days with you at home and then you are gone again for 3. And I'm like, that is exactly correct. And we are spending all 9 of these days together and making them count. And then we make sure that you're comfortable. I mean, dad's home the whole time. It's not like, they're going off to stay at a overnight daycare or anything. But
do they have those?
They do for nursing.
Really?
Yeah. Can you imagine if, there'd be some real opinions on that. But some people need those things. But irregardless, they're safe and they're well taken care of. And we talk about it and we acknowledge the fact that this was we acknowledged back in July that we knew this was going to happen. Talk to your kids about it and
talk to your husbands about it.
Yeah.
Prep the hubbies.
Yes.
Prep the hubbies.
I am an awesome wife. Me and my husband have a successful, happy marriage. I do have it all. I have a successful business. I have
an amazing twin sister.
Yeah. You mean I'm an amazing twin sister? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So killing it as a sister. It's just. Yeah, but people do have to meet you where you are. And what's also funny about entrepreneurship is it's almost like the demands from the people who are probably jealous become more and the judgmental becomes higher. So I don't see anybody any more or less than I did, probably more because I have the full flexibility of my schedule, yet somehow it's not good enough or is less good enough than it was when I was working at corporate HCA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious.
Well, as you have more success, and this is common in general, there's more trolls, more whatever, but on a more personal level, it is interesting to see
why does that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, how more success somehow, at least for us right now, is equating to harsher judgment and harsher opinion, from some of those that are close to us. And those are the words that'll hit home if you know anything about either of us in terms of caring what other people think, or trolls or internet, or anything like that. I just don't I'm proud. I'm proud to not care what others think, except for those that are super close to me. So it really hits home when, some of these people say things or impart their opinion, or, talk about my kids or talk about anything like that, or make me feel even worse as a mom than I already do, which is not to say I'm a bad mom or anything. The mom guilt is real all the time. Yeah, I know I'm a damn great mom. And I know I'm a good wife, and, we are, our little family unit is doing the best we can, and we're worlds better than many people have it. I mean, I told Carla recently 3 times, I look around and I say, I'm just look at my life as I'm going to pick up my pre-K 3-year and saying how perfect, could this get any
Crushing it.
better? We live
Crushing it.
live in a city with so much of our close family, not all of our family, but all of our siblings, our parents, our biological parents or whatever, immediate family. I would love to live closer to my in-laws. But I love my in-laws, but live so close to some of our nieces and nephews all live in this town or live here with us in Nashville. I mean, and then I look at my sweet little family and I'm trying not to get emotional when she gets emotional. I'm like, cute. I mean, it's just like, it's enough to well of emotion of like this business and the employees that we work with and the people that we work with. I mean, for God's sakes, it's
I think what you're saying is like we are happy and we know our families are happy.
So why
and we're not lying to ourselves. So why are other people so
I feel like
angry and quick to put opinions on us?
I feel like that's something my therapist would have just said.
Well, I'm only 4 years away from my counseling degree, so.
Oh God, honey, I am only 4 years away from my counseling. Anyways, but yeah, that's like why. Maybe that's the root of the issue. Why are?
Is it because you're not happy, or like what's
and I'll be super transparent. Recently, I've lost some weight and. Not in an unhealthy manner necessarily. I got a spider bite on my leg, so I stopped working out, which results in weight loss for us because we're avid runners. And then, business gets busy, and I have a 1.5 and a 3.5-year-old. I mean, for goodness sake, can't trust the 3.5-year-old. The 1.5-year-old is everywhere. I literally do not sit down from the moment I wake up until my husband and I hopefully get to crawl into bed about 8:30, and then we're asleep by 9:30. I mean, when you talk about burning calories, plus I run. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of like, I've lost some weight. If I can sit here and tell you I acknowledge it, sometimes I equate it to being stressed out and stuff, but like that's because it's like, okay, that's because I probably am stressed out. But also it's like if that can happen, that's part of the roller coaster. And I appreciate acknowledgement of it. I appreciate face-to-face contact about it. So to relate this back to if you're experiencing this with someone in your life that's an entrepreneur yourself, it's like I put out there, come to me and talk to me about it, or talk to that person about it instead of assuming, that they're not taking care of themselves. I'm as healthy and as happy as I've ever been in my entire life right now in this moment, regardless of the personal stuff her and I are experiencing. And it's crazy that
it's like, why isn't
the people closest to you, are kind of like questioning
it. And people
are
allowed to, be worried about you, and I think you should allow, especially as you own and operate your business and it gets busier and you get busier, it's of course allowing other people to question that or make sure you're okay,
or ask, are you hanging out with your kids enough? Sure. But to accuse
and act like someone's doing something wrong when you haven't been around my kids at all. So are you assuming that they're gonna have issues, or they have issues, or to say they're gonna have issues in the future or whatever? It's just
or maybe assume there's a mental health crisis because someone's lost some weight, or something like that, when they've maybe already. I mean, I've even already expressed, like I said, listen to the person when they're telling you maybe this is what it is, instead of making the assumptions. Hear the person, hear the entrepreneur out, hear the person out, and then try to stay away from the assumptions. And then the catastrophizing. We love in this society to make things so much bigger than they are, so much worse than they are. Mm-hmm. It's a common theme in like addiction and some of these other things. And it's like, catastrophizing things. Typically, almost always, I don't like to say always in and of itself, almost always makes things worse, not better. It almost always makes things worse.
Both good and bad.
Yeah, well, no.
But it is both good and bad. I mean, you catastrophize like the thought process of you're an entrepreneur, you open your own business, you must be rich. I mean, it's when I get on my high horse about discounts and friends and family asking for discounts, because it's not catastrophe it's more of like the extreme nature of both sides of things.
I guess catastrophe sounds bad.
That's the bad version of it. Then it's like the extreme good, because it's always somewhere in between usually.
Right.
I mean, sure, there's a point where someone's just what do they call it, F you rich, like sure, like, or whatever. If there is a point where all that stuff, or someone does cross over into something unhealthy. We're not ignoring those people. It's just stop letting either society or what you think you know about somebody dictate what you say to them, certainly what you say directly to their face, or assume about them, or talk about them behind their back to other people, or whatever the case is, without just going to that person.
Yeah.
And maybe sincerely being like, hey, you've been traveling a lot or whatever the case is.
You've been super busy with your business.
Busy, like just checking in on you.
Yeah.
Have you had time for yourself, for your friends? The kids doing okay? Like,
and then when they say that they are, if you know them at all, take it and run with it, and maybe tell them you're proud. Proud of what they're doing, or and unless you see some egregious reason to question it, it's like, okay, just let it go, and maybe it's like, and Carla doesn't hate when I say this, but I say it a lot. Look inward and understand why you're asking the questions in the first place.
Yeah.
Are you asking out of fear and care and true worry? Are you asking because you're envious, jealous? I'm not sure. Angry at something that you've something personal. Is something going on inside of you to fuel what's going on in the questions? Because really, it would only take one for me to ask Carla, is everything okay? And then unless there was some, like I said, egregious reason to ask her again on the same issue, I just wouldn't. I just don't. I just trust that, she's okay. And unless I'm fueled by a different reason.
Evidence to the contrary.
Yeah. Or there's an underlying reason for why I'm asking that's a little bit more, I don't want to say malicious, but maybe not so good.
And then if you can't do that, just don't do it. Don't do anything.
Well, that's the whole. Just keep on scrolling.
Yeah,
keep
on scrolling. Like if you can't, if it does take inward realization, which a lot of people don't have, and often I don't have at times, and Mary doesn't have it at times. Whatever.
No, I'm pretty good.
No,
pretty good at it.
Just keep scrolling. I mean, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I mean, that is a thing, because if you can't find a way to ask appropriately and like, what are your intentions, like. Yeah, it's just being a little more introspective, especially with entrepreneurs and people who are, it's like the more stressed they are, the more this should apply. When in reality, it's almost the opposite. It's like the more that happens, the more we feel the need to like either tear it down or not take them for their word or whatever else. When in reality, it's just like, yeah, I'm balancing 100 things in my hands, but I'm kind of killing it. Like, I'm pretty happy about it.
And this is me, like, going to be projecting, like, personally what, like I said, we're having this conversation. This was not going to be the topic of the conversation. I think
we were going to talk about
services different services in the med spa, and kind of go through just what we did, how we added them, and then what, our opinion of how to add them, how fast to add them. Next episode. And then we have this going on personally, so there's a lot of personal projection here, but it's like, my thing is, if I identify, you come to me and are concerned, and I tell you, why, yes, I'm quite stressed out, I have a lot of things going on. I do think maybe that's why I've lost weight, or maybe why I'm, I don't know, not sleeping well, whatever maybe your issue is. Or haven't talked to you in a while, or as much as normal. That's exactly why. Why, like, okay, I don't need a solution from you. I think that's a huge thing. Not everyone needs a solution.
Listen.
So if someone talks to you about this, especially entrepreneurs, I can fix a lot of things in my life. I also have a therapist. So it's like, I don't come, if you come to that person and they tell you and identify exactly what you were asking.
We're a fix-it society, right? Like,
we got
everyone wants to offer their opinion as a solution. In reality, it's like, no, sometimes you just want to, you can actually just go.
Yeah, well, I understand, or
I'll pray for you and think about you. And if I can do anything for you, I'm here to help support you.
Yeah, or maybe, what I love doing is like, okay, I hear your situation. Maybe I'll come over. I will just come over. I'll make sure you're at home, and then I'll just come over and bring dinner and spend time with you, because I know it's hard for you to do that with me.
Yeah.
So I will call you more. I'm less busy. I'm whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny, like, put action on yourself. It's a solution for yourself, and nothing that they have to do or fix.
Or you're probably, a lot of people, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not, are in the same boat, right? It's so funny how often we think, I haven't called her in 2 weeks, I'm a terrible friend or whatever. And in reality, they haven't called you either, because they're also super busy. So instead of putting these parameters on what it's supposed to look like,
that's so true.
It's like, no, it's just a realization. And like, I have this relationship with like all my friends. It's so
great.
That's
how it is. Like, that is so true. It goes to this whole, if you're my friend, like, you're the type of friend that if I don't talk to you in 1, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, we pick up right where we left off.
Yeah.
And to me, that is a sign of a true friend in my life.
Yeah.
And then to that point, one of our good friends who is an entrepreneur, her name's Casey, this is what we experienced with her. Like,
totally.
We haven't, oh my God, we tried to do it. It was so cute. We tried to do like a Monday morning accountability meeting, with the three of us. And, sometimes it didn't work out. And, we both just kind of looked at each other, and it was like, it's okay. And then, gosh, we haven't talked in 2 weeks, whatever. Like, Yeah. I mean,
But
you don't have to feel bad
total
about
understanding of what the other person is going through and holding it's low expectations in the best way possible. I mean, Libby's this way. My best friend from nursing school, she'll call me. It's a two-way street. Sometimes I'll call her 4 times in a row, and then she never answers nor calls me back. Right now, more often than not, she calls me 4 times in a row, and I can either answer or I don't call her back. She just keeps calling when she has the chance, and then if she actually has to talk to me, she'll just send me she literally said, Carla, pick up the phone. And but there's no anger or expectation there. It's literally just and I called her immediately for the record. It was 6:30 in the morning. Oh gosh.
Yeah, send me an SOS.
Yeah, let me know you really need me. But otherwise, it's get off each other's backs.
That's
you're doing
funny.
The best you can.
That kind of happened to me too this past week. I was talking to another med spa owner who's up in Wisconsin, and instead of trying to set a meeting or a hey, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, whatever, we just went with hey, we're both super busy.
Hey, listen, tag. Let's
she's
play.
also a CRNA, a mom, a business owner. I mean, she's she's doing the same things that I'm doing. And it was hey, yeah, if you're free and in the car, whenever the best time, because for me in the car, on the way to preferably when my kids are not in the car currently, but.
So there's 2 6-minute slices of my day.
So I have 2, 10-minute slices, but that's the best time to talk to somebody, which is funny. That's been narrowed down recently. I have shorter times of picking up kids, so it's funny how my time talking to some of the personal issues, projecting in, of people in my life has gone down only because it's just a moment in life. It's a moment in life of just it's harder. However, my point to that was I told her, you know what, if you have that moment, if we coincide, I'll answer. If I call you and it's not a good time, just don't answer. You don't have to call and explain to me or anything. And then it's funny, it took 3 days, and guess what? She called, I was on the way to get my kids, she was on the way home to her house, and we talked during that time. I mean, it was just and I'd missed her call twice. I don't think I'd had a chance to call her back, but it was just
And it feels like your family and close friends of all people should be the most supportive of that. When in fact it ends up being
the hardest.
They're the hardest. And that is just an interesting situation. So there's a lot of words surrounding that. But
Smiley Aesthetics Counseling opens in 2024.
Our therapy, we should start using these as therapy chairs. You know what? Just lean me back. How do I lean back?
Oh my God, we should have just started out with you back. And Carla is going to have a therapy session, and we're going to record it.
I'm going to have a session. I'm going to meditate, and
I'm not good at meditating.
I'm not good at that either. But yeah, so just being raw and vulnerable about. It's easy to look at social media on people and think that they have the perfect existence and all these things.
They have their lives together. They have their businesses totally together. Carla loves saying that. And we're better today.
It's that duck thing.
Yeah, but even 2 months ago, it's people probably think we have it together a little. And it's I feel better today than ever, but
it's not always been that way.
No.
And it's not perfect at home. My kids aren't perfect. My marriage isn't perfect.
Social media is a farce.
Social media it is what it is. I mean, we try to be as authentic on social media as possible. I certainly do. I am who I am, and you get what you see, and it's all the things. And so
I should have recorded her crying just now.
No, that's rude.
Well,
but
I'm just saying I could have.
I didn't actually cry. I just almost cried.
I think you.
No.
Anyway,
so. Yeah, the point is be vulnerable with yourself. If you have a partner, a lot of us aren't lucky enough to have a partner, to have that close person that you can do that with. I mean, I can't sit here and say reach out because we'll talk to you because, I mean, it's not really fair to say, but finding that support group, whether it's in your hometown or whatever.
Talk about
the case
authentic.
Is, yeah, I mean,
I cannot be your therapist,
but there are plenty of people in town who are probably experiencing the same things because it is lonely and it can be lonely.
There are groups. That's a good point. Look
there are business groups.
And you think in your tiny town there's not a little business group or whatever there is.
We have the Catholic Women's Business League that I'm a part of. And that's just a good place that has some of the same moral values that I share, but also we get to rope in a bunch of business talk and stuff like that, and that's kind of a therapy session. But again, the point is that also on the flip side of that, also if you're watching this and you're like, yeah, I'm fine. You be fine. Girl, man, you kill it, crush it, be okay,
don't look for something wrong.
Yeah, don't look for something wrong. I think that's part of entrepreneurs are really bad about that, wanting to share in each other's misery. And it's why don't we share in each other's success? We don't ought to. If someone is crushing it and they're like, I am happy, I am a awesome mom, wife. I mean, I'm killing it with my friends. Dude, kill it. We love it.
Don't
That's
reach
what it's
out.
all
I'm
about.
just
Yeah,
kidding.
don't come talk. No, I'm kidding. But it really is, that we mean that sincerely. Like, you don't have to play into some of the both good and bad societal norms around entrepreneurship. But if you are experiencing them, then there are tons of resources, both good and bad. I mean, maybe we should start a happy business owners club. That seems fake.
I mean,
well, it feels like every time you get in a circle, it's always about all the hardships, which I'm all about, but I'm also like ready to experience a circle that's like, let's talk about all the wins.
well, I mean, we're part of an entrepreneurial group. It's called The Blocks. It's the TV show that we filmed. We've done it twice this year, and our season did come out this past Sunday. And the group we're in, I feel like we experienced. They talk. There's a lot of positive things, mostly things that people are struggling with, but there's a really good. There's a decent mix of.
We're just allowing it to be whatever it is the person needs in the moment. And then just being supportive of it.
And not needing a fix. Did they ask for a fix? I love that on social media. Someone just says, people, maybe it's different. I had a hard day and that water bottle is blue. And people are like, maybe you should get a pink water bottle. And it's like,
that's not what I needed.
Yeah.
Because that's a good point. Because people will say, looking for advice or ISO opinions or whatever. So they're actually looking for your opinion versus just having a statement of.
It's literally like, you should get a pink water bottle, or like, ooh, I'm here for you if you need anything.
Yeah.
To me, it's.
But you know what's also funny, and then we can. I don't know how long this has gone on, but when people can't give their opinion, and this is how you know you have the right, either friend or person for you, because not everything we're saying applies to everybody. Whatever, these are just our insights into our opinions. But when you have that person that if they're not able to give a fix or an opinion, they basically either quit listening or they're unengaged or whatever the case is, because like they're just that person that's only looking and thinking about the next thing they're going to say, which I kind of sometimes used to be. I'm a much better listener than I was when I was younger. And leadership did a lot for me to listen and take something in, give somebody my full attention, and not always be thinking about the next thing I'm going to say. Those people are not good people to bounce stuff off of, and that's not like a negative thing. Some people just, they can't help it. Their intentions are good. They just always want to fix something for you or whatever the case is.
I'd argue 90% of people are like that. You have to be so mindful.
Well, just recognizing
an active listener.
Well, and recognizing that those people, like, start tallying that in your mind so that when you are having a hard moment and you just need someone to listen, like, don't keep going to the same person who consistently pisses you off because they're trying to fix everything.
We have every now and then done a thing where it's like, I don't need you to fix this.
Oh, totally.
At all, because we're super bad, especially with each other.
Oh, it's very difficult.
All these cute rules are things that we try to do kind of go out the window sometimes when we talk to each other, but it's like, we don't do it very often. We maybe could even, it's a friendly reminder to do it more, but it's just like, well, not for you, but for both of us, of like, hey, I don't need a solution.
Yeah.
I am just venting, and that's all I need.
Yeah. And that's hard.
Especially hard and especially if it's about business.
Yeah.
Because, ask. So.
I don't know what just happened there, but it's rude.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, goods and bads.
Well, I feel better.
Yeah, right? Therapy. So maybe we should just title it therapy. That's not searchable. Entrepreneurial therapy
have
session.
To have a title of
Session 1.
Yeah. Shout out to Sarah. She will get mad at me if I do not put in a correct title. We'll think of that later. But anyway, really, entrepreneurship is hard. Entrepreneurship is beautiful. Entrepreneurship is in between. Entrepreneurship can be, you can have it all. Entrepreneurship is you cannot balance it for shit. It is totally.
You're going to succeed.
It's going to be
some are going to fail.
Yeah.
It's all the things.
Some are never going to try again. Some are going to, this is my 5th business and this one made it. This is my 5th business and this one didn't. I mean, it's just like.
It's all over the map.
We can don't put a label on it. Support the people around you, especially if they're your family members or your best friends or your close friends. Like, try to have nothing but support, even if you are jealous or envious or like mad at them for something. It's just like the last thing the entrepreneur, that person needs is that from the people closest to them.
Even in the best times too, like even when you're succeeding, everything's going perfectly. Talk about bursting a bubble. To find out that someone thinks so poorly of you when you thought you were crushing it. I still think I'm crushing it, but personally. But like I hope you still think you're crushing it. But so no matter what, if you're like, oh, they're in a good spot, I can bring up my feelings, or don't bring it up because they're in the bad spot. No matter what, the bottom line is don't. If you don't have something nice or supportive to say, unless you're genuinely concerned, then just shut up. and just don't say anything at all because, it's just not needed for entrepreneurship or just anything else in life. Stay-at-home mom, a teacher, or nurse, or it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Collaboration over competition, that applies.
Community over competition.
Collaboration and community over competition. Collaborate if we're in business together, and if it's not, then we're probably in community together. And so,
I posted something on Instagram that competition happens at the bottom, collaboration happens at the top. Just support each other, and realize if you're competing with somebody that hard, you're probably somehow at the bottom, and you need to rethink about where you want to be in this world of entrepreneurs. So
we would love to hear from anybody watching if you've experienced,
after she said don't reach out. No. That's what I was literally about to say. It's funny, we were just twinning there. Like, reach out.
Yeah.
I don't know how on YouTube platforms you can reach out, but
send an email.
I'm at Injector Smiley on Instagram. DM. She's at Smiley or Carla at SmileyAesthetics.com, Mary at SmileyAesthetics.com.
Emails.
We're starting a Patreon. Hopefully, if I can get it launched, we're going to start a Patreon more geared towards the aesthetic provider for sure, which obviously all of this is, but it's going to have a ton
I'm going to have a bunch of business stuff on there too.
Ton of compliance stuff with our third partner, Courtney, an attorney, which I think is going to be the value add that a lot of people don't have. I'm going to put all the fun clinical stuff on there I can. That's out there a lot more, I think, but I think the business and compliance side of it is gonna be great, and
and reaching out to share, I don't know, it can be so venting to just send an email or video of yourself or whatever.
It could be such a good release.
Yeah, a good release. Thank you. I didn't really know what to say there. To just tell somebody, if you relate to what we just said at all, then share. It might not be that we're not therapists and whatever, whether or not we respond, but the point where I listen and read all the comments, all the questions, and I guess it's more knowing that someone's going to see it, someone's going to hear it, and someone understands how you feel and where you are.
Well, sometimes just speaking it or writing it or typing it makes it. I journal a lot. I mean, sometimes just writing and speaking make things, just getting it out, some form of getting it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Next episode is going to be on, we talked last time about mobile versus renting a room versus opening a med spa, and now we're going to talk about you either just all three of those even still, and what actual services make sense.
Yeah, what works for our mobile injectors or how it keeps working, and then,
just even get down to some talking about which services have the widest profit margins, maybe not specific numbers, but why we chose the ones we chose, because they were going to make the most, or they were the fastest, the most efficient. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into essentially a cost of goods sold, the overarching.
Running through that, because cost of goods is not just the cost of the product and that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's your time. So that's going to be the next episode. This one comes out
Sunday.
This should be Sunday. So
on the 15, 16. Yep, on the 17th. This one will come out, and then like and subscribe and all the shameless plugs.
Like and subscribe.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's we don't
want
to be talking to ourselves, right? So, and then I am really excited for that Patreon to come out for those aesthetic providers. I really think it'll be. I think it's patreon.com, and I think /Smiley Aesthetics.
And then topics. We've had a couple come in, and we're covering those. But if anybody wants to hear about anything in specific, or just hear us talk about anything really, related to business or aesthetics or just being moms or wives, and how we just anything, how we rope it in, and I don't know. I just think this has triggered me to be more, even more vulnerable and transparent in myself, and letting people see that, because it's just so needed and so necessary. So reach out to us. Got to get our marketing director to stop the recording.
So
like and subscribe. Thank you.